Are you looking for an escape from manufactured truth wrapped in selfish agenda? Don't you just want to have a real and raw conversation, all masks and rules aside? That's what you're getting here at Titan Evolution Podcast. Get rid of all the nonsense information and discuss everything under the sun without filters. Listen to real stories of real people who will put your current perspectives to the test, guide you on living the life you truly want, and see everything free from judgment and pretenses. Time to get rid of those unhealthy environments and let your authentic self shine. Here are your hosts, Travis Johnson and Carol Carpenter.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Carol Carpenter and this is my co-host, Travis Johnson. And we have a special guest today for our show, Marques Ogden. Hi, Marques.
Hello, how are you, Carol?
Very good. Marques was drafted in 2003 as an offensive lineman in the NFL. After 5 years, he made the decision to retire and pursue a construction and contracting profession. He founded Kayden Premier Enterprises. Marques is also a speaker, executive coach, best-selling author, and marketing leader. He loves to help others become successful. Welcome, Marques.
Thank you, Carol. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. How you doing, Travis?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic as always. And I always start the show with the same question, Marques. The inquiring minds want to know, what is it about you that makes you a Titan?
What makes me a Titan is I'm somebody that's lost it all and had to rebuild myself, rebrand myself from nothing. When I moved to Raleigh, I had $400 to my name after losing my construction company, after losing everything that I owned. And when I got down here, I had to really just start over from ground zero. And today, we have a very successful keynote speaking, executive coaching, consulting, brand ambassador, podcast brand. But I tell you all the time, it took years to build. 2.5 years, I had not one paid job. So what makes me a Titan is that I was able to sustain and keep going. Everybody told me, Marques, you're crazy, you're insane. You'll never have success as a speaker, coach, consultant, ambassador, or a podcast host.
A lot of haters in your circle, huh?
It's just life, dude. There's a lot of haters just in life, man. What really my circle is just people on social I really didn't know. Who I run across at different football camps. Oh man, stay working as a football trainer. You're an Ogden. Stay as an O-line coach. Do that. Be a college coach at Campbell. All this. Get free Waffle House for life and all this stuff at Campbell and be that. I'm like, well, no, I don't want to be that. I want to do more. I want to go for more. So that's how I pushed myself, and now here we are today.
I'm sorry.
It's funny. People are. Sorry. Go ahead.
Free Waffle House for life. I might be interested. What do I have to do to get that?
Well, go coach at Campbell. Potentially, it might be part of the job.
Campbell, I'm writing that down. I'm gonna contact Campbell. I don't know why they would hire me, but I'm interested.
Don't you love that people love to give you advice? They're not sitting in your shoes. They don't know how you think. They don't know the person that you are. And yet people are so willing to give you advice. I know when I started down my road into the motorcycle world, my brother and my family, everybody thought I had lost my freaking marbles, and they said to me, you just need to go get a job. You should do this. The should, right, Travis?
That's word in my book.
And I just sat there and I thought, they don't know me. They just assume I'm having a midlife crisis. They didn't even bother to ask me why I've chosen to go down this route, but they told me I should not do this because I would somehow kill myself.
It's very interesting how people that don't really know what is inside of us tell us how to live our life. And that's quite unfortunate because what happens is they're usually projecting their negativity, they're projecting their fear onto us. And it's quite unfortunate because in reality, there's so much you can gain out of life if you learn to look at life from a holistic perspective and stop judging people and give people a chance to do what they want to do with their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. I know you mentioned in your opener that you lost your construction company down to zero. What do you attribute that to?
Oh, I lost that due to my ego. There's no doubt about it. I mean, my ego was bigger than King Kong, bigger than any Titan, and it was all about me, 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 me. And I was so self-absorbed. One of my talks that I give is called Self-Absorption Causes Self-Destruction. And I was
Mm.
just so much about me and myself and what what I wanted and not what everybody else wanted. And if you didn't agree with me, I would fire you. If you question
Ooh.
me, I would be like, what are you thinking? Why are you talking? You don't know what you're talking about. And I chased money and I chased fame. I chased what I call external motivating factors. And as a result of that, I ended up flat on my ass in 2013.
You became a dictator.
Yes, very much so. And I said there's leadership and there's dictatorship. Leadership, they trust, they communicate, they talk. They don't do things like be, aggressive or shout. You need to live as a leader by the character ethics, loyalty, honesty, trust,
Integrity.
not by the personality ethics, rage, wrath, lust, anger. And
Boy, it sounds like karma, like
ethics.
bitch slapped you in the ass.
It surely did.
Or sounds like
And
a
I
great
have a
week in
saying.
Vegas.
And so I tell everybody, if you don't handle success, success will handle you. And success handed me my ass in 2013 when I lost everything.
Oof. Ugh.
What was the
Had to
what
hit
was
the
the
reset button.
Oh yeah, what was the tipping point? Because obviously you felt it. You felt it in the pocketbook, you felt it in your circles, you felt it everywhere. What was the thing that caused that switch to let go of the ego to allow you to really build your life the way you wanted to build it?
When I was a custodian in 2013, I had my spoiled milk moment of clarity with somebody's trash, rotten meat, nasty, funky, protruding garbage got all over my body, my skin, and my clothes. And that was my wake-up call. And as a result of that, I said, wow, Marcus, your ego, your bravado puts you here. You got two choices. Either own it, fix it, and move on, or continue to be a victim and say it was everybody else's fault, and you'll always be right here for the rest of your life.
Oh, that is a world-class realization, actually understanding exactly what role you had to play in your own demise. That's something a lot of people understand.
Yeah, because what happens is you have to actually take what's called the accountability mirror and put it back in your own face. And a lot of people don't want to do that because a lot of people don't want to own their mistakes. They want to say, oh, I made a mistake, but you did this. Oh, I made a mistake, but you did that. No, there's no but. There's no you did this, you did that. No, you made a mistake, own it, fix it, move on. You either are a creator or you are a victim. No in between.
100% agree with you. Did you find that you really could see who were your friends during that time?
Oh, yes, absolutely. People who are there for you in down times are what matters most. And, it's easy like me today. I mean, podcast is in the top 1.5%. That's how I met, Travis gave us some great feedback, which we're implementing right now with our podcast. We're having a meeting with our team and we're going to start creating, my external manager is going to take 5 hours of her monthly time with me and dedicate to the podcast. So I'm excited about that. But see, the old Marcus was like, oh, I'm top 1.5%. I made almost 6 figures, with the podcast, and sponsorship. I don't need Travis's help. Thanks a lot, Travis. Goodbye. Or the new Marcus like, man, Travis, thank you so much for giving us some feedback and analyzing what we could do better. Let's implement that. So we're not a 6-figure podcast. We're going to 7- and 8-figure podcasts, right? And that's the difference in me today than I was, 10 years ago. Today, I have no ego. If all somebody is credible, wants to give me some feedback, and I know that what they're saying makes sense, I'm gonna listen all day long. The old Marcus, nah, I'm good. I got it all. I'm straight. I make a bunch of money, and I don't need your help.
Well, we definitely appreciate you going on that journey and realizing that you're not the end all be all. I know that myself, I've struggled with my ego. I know Carol, huge egomaniac back in the day. I don't know, I'm making it up. But everyone has this thing about themselves that they're not willing to expose. They're not willing to share. They're not willing to admit to. Everyone has that dark corner of their personality. And, it just so happened that yours really stole from your bank account and caused your life to crumble. We do know you played in the NFL and you got the chance to play with your big brother, Jonathan Ogden, who's a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer. What was that experience like, finally making it to the show and getting to spend time with your brother?
It was fantastic, man. Being in the NFL and having my brother support me and help to teach me the game of football, to help make me a better person, help me make me a better athlete was super important, because as a young athlete, we all need that guidance. We all need that, that ability to move forward. And if we don't have that, we're not going to get where we want to go. So having my brother to help teach me and educate me was something that was really important in my NFL career, which allowed me to play for almost 6 years in the National Football League.
What made you decide to make a switch and retire?
Well, I had some back injuries and I had some issues, with knees and things like that. And so as you get older and you realize that you're not in top peak shape, you have to make a decision. Like, do you want to leave the game and be, stay too long in the game, or you realize you can't play them at a high level anymore and it's time to move on? And I say, you know what? I can't play at a high level anymore. It's time to move on.
That's one of the hardest decisions for a lot of pro athletes. I know we talked to Reggie Walker and David Carter, like understanding where you are in that cycle of awesomeness to being on the decline or trying to do something next. I know it's hard, especially for a young man, to be like, you know what, you're in your early 20s or mid 20s and suddenly you're not as effective as you used to be. And you still got your whole life ahead of you, but all you've known is football. Like, making that decision is pretty tough.
Oh, yeah, absolutely is, because you realize that you have to now embark on a scary part of life, which we call real life, corporate America, going to get a job. Like, even if you have enough money to retire, you still have to find something to take up your time. So it's a hard transition. Unfortunately, I feel bad for Tom Brady getting divorced from his wife, but I feel that is probably part of it, that he doesn't know what to do with his time. And what's sad is he has like a $350 million contract waiting for him to go and be a broadcaster. But it's not about the money for Tom. It's about the challenge. It's about waking up every day and pushing and wanting to be great, right? And you can only do that in the National Football League for him, right? And that's his sport. That's what he knows. That's what he's all about. So he's not ready to walk away from the game. And it's unfortunate, I think if he was, I don't know if he's still be married or not, but I can understand that's a lot for him. And that's why a lot of guys don't walk away, because they're all about what? The competition, the drive to be the best.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they have to learn to shift gears. If you can't play the sport anymore, find something else that excites you, that engages your senses, that can fulfill you in not the same exact way, but similar ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds so easy and so simple, but it's so hard because so many guys don't know what to do next after the game. And I was one of those guys. So I know exactly what that fear and that anxiety is all about.
What made you choose construction?
Honestly, the wrong reason. Chasing money, wanting big check syndrome. I didn't know anything about construction. I was all about trying to make money. And I did that and I achieved that. But unfortunately, as I was making money, I wasn't prepared for the success that I was experiencing. And it got the best of me and it cost me everything.
I tell you, when you transition from different things in your life, I retired from the Navy after 22 years in February of 2022. And if my identity was locked in and onto the military, that's who I was as a person, like that's a hard thing to transition from. When they say when you're going through the military career, at the end of your career, you're going to have a bottle of bourbon and your family, or you're just going to have a bottle of bourbon. And that was one of the
Mm.
lessons that I really brought home, is to make sure I cultivated my family, spent time with them as much as I could while the Navy still had their hooks in me, right? And that's sounds like a lesson that Tom Brady didn't learn, that at the end of the game, he's going to have his rings and his check, but is he also going to have his family at the end of it? And it doesn't seem like that was something that he learned in time.
Yeah, and it's quite unfortunate because, everybody learns differently. Everybody has a different timetable to learn, but it still doesn't make it any easier because it's a lot of trial, it's a lot of tribulation you have to go through. And a lot of people, myself included, we just don't know what to do with that time. And luckily for me, I didn't do as much damage as I could have done with the bottle and everything else. But when I figured it out, it went well. But unfortunately, as I was saying earlier, the success I was having, it was not self-sustaining because I was my biggest enemy.
Okay, so then how did you end up finding your stride to what you're currently doing?
So I ended up going home after I lost everything. 2013. Let me go back. Sorry. I went home after I had that spoiled milk moment of clarity as a custodian, and I wrote down my 3 biggest strengths. And what I realized was I was a good communicator. I was a great storyteller. I wanted to help people. And that launched me getting into construction. That launched me getting into keynote speaking in 2013. But unfortunately, for 2.5 years, I did not have one paid job because I had no experience, I had no value, and I was chasing money. But what got me into it was I wanted to help people. I wanted to share my story. And that was the catalyst that launched me to my speaking career in 2013, September.
What's something about you that a lot of people don't know?
A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know. Let's see. That's a good question. I mean, I'm very open. I'm such an open book. You know, I don't really. I mean, there's not much. I mean, people know about my story. People know about everything I've gone through. I would say a lot of people don't know potentially that our podcast is only 4 months old, the new one, and having a lot of success. But a lot of times people don't also know is that, well, that's people don't know. I started a podcast in 2017 that failed miserably after me recording only for about 3 weeks, and I quit after that.
Okay,
What made you
well,
quit?
let's talk about something that people don't know about you personally, not on a business level, personally.
I would say people don't know I have probably close to like over 150 tattoos. People don't know that. I've been a big tattoo person, full back, chest, double sleeve, collarbones, all that type of stuff. And I got those as a result of my father passing away. That I started making my body my temple to my family. And I just didn't stop for about 4 or 5 years. And I just racked a lot of tattoos, which I'm very proud of still to this day. But a lot of people don't realize that because the reason I got them was my father passing away. And that kind of started my whole trajectory with my tattoos.
So is this a theme? Is this
Yes.
like a tribute to your family? So each
Yes.
tattoo has a meaning to or a significance to someone or an event?
Somebody in my family, an event, something I've gone through, like college. Like I have Buffalo Soldiers on my right arm because my dad and I both went to Howard University. My nickname is Little O. My dad's nickname was Original O. I have that on my body. My grandfather's name, my uncle who passed away, my grandmother who passed away. The date my dad passed away is on my collarbone. I have like a tribute to my dad on my back, his portrait. with the year he was born, the year that he passed away, that kind of stuff.
Oh, I love that stuff because I too have tattoos. And I remember the very first tattoo I ever had was when my children were young and I walked through their daycare and this woman comes up to me and they go, "Is that real?" My first thought was, what do you mean? Is it real? Is it a real permanent tattoo? As if somehow I would just stick, temporary tattoos on me. And I just said, yes. And she was such a bitch. She walked away and she said to me, "Wow, you're brave." And I was like, what the fuck, man? Seriously? Like,
if it was in the South, she would have said, "Bless your heart."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So yeah, I get it. Like things that mean something to you that you tattoo as if you're going to tattoo something that doesn't mean shit to you on yourself. That's permanent.
Got it.
Right?
Tell me about the impact that your dad had in your life. If you tattooed him and it was the first tattoo, that man must have been monumental to everything that you've done and built.
Oh, he was everything. He raised us as a single dad. He was hardworking. He was loyal. He had a ton of friends. When he passed away, we had about 1,000 people at his funeral. Raven players, retired guys. The Ravens actually took off practice at that time to come into his funeral, which was amazing. He was just the embodiment of a person that wanted to help others. So I was so lucky to have him as my father, because without him, wow, my life would have been so much different.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Did he die before or after your construction company?
Before. If I would have had him alive during that time, I would have never gone out of business, because he would have kept me in line to make sure that I didn't do anything stupid, like let my ego get the best of me.
It's so interesting that no matter what phase of life we are in as people, that we always need those other people in to keep us in line. And like, "Travis, you want to tell me what the fuck you were thinking?" And be like, "I wasn't thinking at all. I appreciate you."
Right. That's right. And that's exactly what I was. I didn't have anybody to help keep me in line. And that was the biggest mistake that I made, is when I didn't have anybody to keep me in line, I got out of line. And that's what caused my demise in 2013, because I didn't have anybody to check me. I need somebody to check me, and I didn't have anybody to check my ego at the door.
Yep. I'm a firm believer that accountability and responsibility are the two biggest things that help anyone in any venture that they're doing. And I know that I'm the bad guy or the villain in a lot of people's stories. And a lot of the times it's because I was wanting to hold them accountable before they were ready to be held accountable.
Well, that's what you call a real friend, because if you're not going to hold somebody accountable, then you're going to let them get away with anything. If you get away with anything, you'll just do anything, right? So it's kind of like, if you don't have somebody to check you, or you're not self-reliant, you're going to drop the ball. And we all need people to check us, to keep us in line, so we don't get out of line.
Absolutely. Right. Hey, Carol, who's the person that keeps you in line?
Ollie.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about, so we check in every day, multiple times a day. So I have a boyfriend that lives out of the country, long distance relationship, but we talk about everything. And there are things that we ask each other for advice for. Maybe we'll talk about what's currently going on, and we keep each other in check. And I love having that type of relationship.
It's awesome. That's very rare.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. I'm old. I know it's rare. So
that's awesome. Yeah. That's funny.
If you're listening to this and you haven't heard Carol's story, that's out there in live, and you can hear about all the times that she learned lessons in her life and went through all the people to try to find the one that was going to actually hold her accountable. Definitely check out that episode.
Yeah.
Better late than never.
Yep. I 100% agree.
Absolutely. Hey, as we're getting ready to, I know we're short on time today. As we're getting ready to wrap up here, can you share with the listeners some advice you might have if they're going through something or their ego is in the way or they don't have accountability in their life?
Great quote by Aristotle. In times of extreme darkness, focus on the light. And what I think Aristotle meant was you need to recognize that you are the light, that you have the ability to get through any darkness. But you have to realize and be self-reliant on yourself. Too many people look for other people to help them out of a situation, which is good, but it's the thing. Nobody should want to help you more than you want to help yourself. If you're not willing to get in there and do it and get in the trenches, get your hands, get your elbows dirty, don't even bother trying to be successful or wanting success because it ain't going to happen. So I really believe what Aristotle meant was we are the light. We can get through any darkness that we're facing, adversity, obstacles, death, mourning, tragedy, divorce, all that stuff. But we have to recognize that we are the light. And that's going to get us through everything that we're facing.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. And before you go, please, what's the one place you want people to find you and connect with you online?
Yeah, they can go to our website, www.marques, MARQUES, Ogden, OGDEN.com. And also, please check out our podcast, Get Authentic with Marques Ogden. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeart, Stitcher, Pandora, Amazon, you name it. Check us out. We really think you're going to love the content. We just hit 50 episodes published yesterday. Check us out. We think we get a lot of value and great content from our guests and from their stories.
That's wonderful. Ogden, thank you so much for being here today. Marques, carving out the time. I know you're probably at the park with your daughter, and that just shows your dedication as a father and who you are as a man. We really appreciate that.
Yes, sir. I'm at the ice skating rink right now while she's skating on the ice, and I'm doing a podcast, but that's called balancing and managing your time effectively.
That's all for this episode of Titan Evolution Podcast. We hope this no-holds-barred conversation opened your eyes on what it takes to live a genuinely happy life according to your own terms. Now that you've treated yourself to such a refreshing discussion, you cannot listen to nonsense content anymore. Be sure not to miss an episode by subscribing to the show at TitanEvolutionPodcast.com. Don't forget to share the word so more people can be enlightened, informed, and entertained. Thank you for listening.